Hi, and welcome to the Great Awakening podcast. I'm your host, Giselle Brunn, and today's special guest that we have with us is Rita Bestill. She is the owner of the Bestill bookstore in Elmvale, Ontario. She is a psycho-spiritual counselor, author of 4 books, and the most recent is a booklet entitled The New Dawn of Awakening, which is the 7th Golden Age of Peace. I'll be putting all of Rita's details in the info below, and you can access her website as well as the store address and information thereof. Welcome, Rita.
Thank you for inviting me, Giselle.
Such a pleasure to have you here today. You have a wealth of information to impart to the world, and you also have a wealth of background information as well to share with the world. So without further ado, I have a very pertinent question for you today. What, in your view, is the Great Awakening mean?
The new awakening, the Great Awakening, is really about humanity transcending the ego state or the lower mind or the third dimensional state. And so we have grown. And so all of this here with technology, etc., we have been blessed worldwide to really understand what the Great Awakening is. We are no longer vibrating the third dimension like we have for millions and millions of years. And there's about 20%, maybe 25% of the world's population. We refer to ourselves as light bearers. We're all over the world. We have been born at this time to awaken people. First, we needed to awaken ourselves, definitely. And once we have awakened, we have understood that there's so much more to life than, the ego state or accumulating wealth, because wealth indeed is internal wealth. Once we know who we are, that we are indeed a beautiful spark of divinity, a love being, and we can create our life as we want. This is our wealth. This is the awakening, knowing that we are a spark of divinity, knowing that we are a creator being, and we can create our life as we want.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that information. How would you advise all of us to begin this journey of awakening, and how would you recommend we navigate through the chaotic times that we're seeing presently on our planet?
Most and foremost, we have to stop the blame game. We've all decided to have these experiences. We have chosen our parents. We have chosen our life circumstances. And most of us have been humbled. We have been brought down to our knees, as I say all the time. It is only at that point in our life that we can awaken and begin our journey, where we become seekers of knowledge, high universal knowledge. And so once we have identified that this is a gift that's been given to us that we have chosen to experience, life becomes a wonderful adventure. And as we learn our lessons, as we overcome each obstacle, the next lesson will appear. However, these are wonderful gifts to us until we reach and fulfill our life's purpose. And each and every one of us has a purpose in life. We come on the earth equipped with different skill sets. It's a matter of redeveloping. It's a matter of connecting to those skill sets. Like I said, it doesn't matter whether we are an author like myself or a broadcaster like yourself or an artist. These are all essential gifts, and they're all from the higher mental body, shall we say, which is our heart, our spiritual heart. This is where we become creative. Otherwise, we continue just to be critical thinkers in our logical side of the brain, which is ideal. It is essential. However, it is even more essential that we become harmonized. So historically, we have been a very patriarchal world, as we know. So the 7th Golden Age of Ascension is about understanding that there's two major polarities to our brain. This is a very scientific understanding that Carl Jung, in the early 20th century, he stated that spirituality was a science whose time is here. But we have sort of ignored that throughout the last, millions of years. So men and women, it's irrelevant whether we are in a male body or in a female body. We both have two polarities. The right brain signifies the feminine in all of us, whether you're a male or a female, and the left brain signifies the male dominance, or our ability to think, our ability to be critical thinkers. It is the masculine side. So the yin and the yang, shall we say, it's about incorporating, it's about harmonizing these two polarities. Once we have reached that state, it is a journey. It certainly doesn't happen at a young age. It really is a journey. We're home free. And this is what we would refer to as a Christ consciousness. We talk about, the second coming of Christ. North America in particular, in Europe, we're all waiting for the second coming of Christ. Well, the second coming of Christ is us in our heart. Mm-hmm. There is no physical human being that's going to come on the earth and come again like Jesus did over 2,000 years ago. We're it. We are doing his work. We are his mouthpiece to really and truly instruct the world that once we are connected to our heart, our spiritual heart and soul, we're home free. Know the truth, and the truth will set us free. We are free at this time. And so behind the physical heart, there's a chamber that we call the sacred flames. These sacred flames have all the knowledge, have all the power, have all the wisdom that we need to accomplish our life's purpose. So in the olden days, we would refer to this as the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. I guess language always changes. Today we refer to it as the golden, not so much the golden, but the threefold flame, which is power, wisdom, and love. So wisdom would be our Father, our creator being. Love is the feminine energy. And the masculine, of course, is the power, the knowledge. Knowledge is power. Universal knowledge is power. It gives us the ability to make decisions that work for us and for the betterment of humanity. And once we have made a decision from the heart that we want to be of service to the betterment of humanity, the doors will open and just things will unfold as they were meant to be.
Thank you. How would you advise people to begin that journey within them with their sacred flames?
And so this is a good question, Giselle, really and true. How do we begin? How is this possible? And so throughout my journey of life's adversity, shall I say, one of the questions I would ask, how do we do that? So it's been a journey, but it's very, very simple. Of course, it's taken me a number of years to recognize that all that we have is within us, and we just need to have the desire to connect to the heart, to the spiritual heart, where dreams become a reality. Because the majority of people live in terrible darkness of fear. Fear is the greatest disease of mankind. Fear of change. And so here in the 7 golden age of peace, or the new awakening, we're here to transition from fear to love. Be the love that we are. And as we raise the vibration, truly it becomes an incredible journey of adventure. When we're being the love that we are love beings. And it is really, really essential that we continue to vibrate at a higher frequency, because the low frequencies are very dark. Mm-hmm. And this is how disease manifests. This is how wars begin. I always remember my daughter, one of my oldest daughter, who lived in India for a while. And she sent me this beautiful book. She was an avid reader, of course, and she said, Mom, wars do not begin out there. They begin in our own handicapped hearts. And that has such an impact on my life, this very young woman who was brilliant, way ahead of her time. And this is where wars begin. They don't begin out there. Once we get this, we wouldn't hurt a fly. I would much rather be killed than kill, because we know we're not really dying. We're just going back to home where we came from.
Yes, that's for sure. Agreed. A lot of people wouldn't understand the concept of going within ourselves and raising our frequency. Do you have a way or a method that you could share with all of those listeners that are not cognizant of those terminologies?
Well, definitely, it is a journey, but meditation always helps us. We need to still our minds, to be still. um, and I believe it is one of the most difficult challenges for humanity, for human beings, just to be still and feel comfortable in their own skin. So we go about running here, running there, trying to avoid the stillness, because then we have to look in the mirror. And how do we cope if we're not feeling good about ourselves, if we're not able to forgive ourselves, if we're still in peril, if we're still judging every Tom and Dick and Harry? So being still gives us the opportunity in that meditative state, whether we choose words, whether we just choose to close our eyes and or maybe just focus on a candle that we light. It gives us an opportunity to really and truly go inside and ask that pertinent question: who am I? Why am I here? What is life all about? And so each and every one of us has to answer that question for himself or herself. And then for many years, I would ask my clients, to look in the mirror and just to share with that reflection on the mirror that I am love. I am a human. I'm God's consciousness. I am worthy. And all the years I was doing this, I've never witnessed one of my clients without tears. Too many people do not have good self-worth. Too many people do not love themselves because they don't know that they're loved beings. Nobody's ever told us. From all the institutions, including our parental institutions. And so it's always been external. We become worthy. We become, I don't know, based on our bank account, based on the roles that we have in life. Little do we know that a street person, a homeless person, or a CEO are just as worthy as somebody in the higher echelon, shall we say. And so it has nothing to do with the physical appearance. It has to do with who we are at a deeper level. And that is that we are indeed a spark of divinity, of God's consciousness, or a love being having a human experience. And until humanity, especially the Christian community, embraces reincarnation, which was taught by the Catholic Church, a universal church, until the 4th century. And then at one point they decided to stop that teaching and begin to teach that we're sinners. We're born sinners. We are not sinners. We are, however, here to transmute our karma. It's like, as a mother, we know that when we make bad decisions, when our children make bad decisions, there's a consequence. Maybe they get sent to bed early, or they're not able to go out. So these are natural consequences. And so that is the way it is with our Creator God, our spirit, whatever we want to refer to. Bob, we can call it Bob, we can call it whatever, it doesn't matter. Because God is consciousness. So there is no physical being per se. It's strictly consciousness. It's energy, beautiful, bright, energetic energy. And so if we make bad decisions here, and so we have to transmute that karma. This is what reincarnation is all about until we get it. We're going to keep coming back and coming back. And most of us here have had thousands and thousands of lives. We may not know about it. And so the reason that the Universal Church stopped teaching reincarnation was that they felt it was giving the ordinary person too much power by knowing that if we don't get it in this lifetime, we're going to come back in another lifetime and get it right. But one of the beautiful things is that I learned just recently, we're always learning, doesn't matter how old we are, is that children up until the age of 12 have no karma to transmute. It is after the age of 12, 13 that there's karma that we came here, we signed up to transmute. It's sort of loaded down to us into our etheric bodies. And this may be one of the reasons that we can certainly understand why a lot of teenagers get lost. Because all of a sudden, all this karma, all this darkness, all this insecurities that they have to work through. And this may be one of the reasons that we have so many young people on drugs today, because they have not been told that they are worthy. They have not been told that this is what we're here to do each lifetime, is to get a little bit better, raise our vibration. Yeah, there's so much, I'm not sure. It is a journey.
It is a journey. That's a lot of information. Thank you. I'm sure that people will resonate with whatever sits well in their hearts in any case. And I'm really grateful for your sharing all of your wisdom. Um, what can you elaborate on your booklet? What is the New Dawn of Awakening? What does it refer to? And just tell us a little bit about the booklet and how it's going to impact, hopefully, the people that it touches.
Thank you. That is a very good question. I'm glad you asked, because these are all my booklet. It's I guess we're all channels to some degree, and when we're connected to the heart, to our heart, things just come to us, and we don't know, how did I write that? And so the masters, the ascended masters, we don't know. Nobody's ever told us again that the planet Earth, the hierarchy on planet Earth, is somewhat similar to the government. We have the president or the prime minister. Then we have, all these different ministers that overlook the different portfolios. So in the hierarchy, it's similar. And so the seven golden age, when we talk about seven is it. And so it's a new beginning, it's the end, it's a new beginning. And so on planet Earth, we have seven great ascended masters all over our planet, overseeing different parts of that planet, overseeing different parts of, let's say, science or I don't know, the educational system, etc. So we have a lot of guidance. And so these great masters, they have their, what we call etheric temples in different parts of our planets, in different parts of the world. For instance, I'm just going to say Jesus, everybody knows him. His etheric temple is in Arabia.
Wow.
In Saint Germain, his etheric temple is in Montana. And of course, we all know Archangel Michael. And if anybody's been out west and had the privilege of visiting Lake Louise, Lake Louise is just blue. It's just this beautiful, beautiful blue. Archangel Michael's etheric temple is over Lake Louise.
Ah, interesting.
Very interesting. So this booklet here is really about for humanity to understand that we're dearly loved and there's no judgment. There's no judgment. And the first person that we need to forgive is ourselves. Or when we know better, we all do better. And each and every one of us has made mistakes, erroneous mistakes, hurtful mistakes. And usually we make bad choices or when we're hurting because we haven't been told, we haven't been informed that we choose our parents, we choose our life circumstances, and we choose the Judases in our life. And so those who hurt us the most are indeed our best teachers. And, I was not a wanted child, but my parents always loved me. But I didn't realize that I was not wanted. I was the seventh child in this family. How could they possibly want me? It had nothing to do with me. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with them. Like abusive parents. There's so many abusive parents. There's so many abusive husbands. But it's never to do with us. We're always projecting what we feel about ourselves. If we are at peace, we're going to project peace. If we're in turmoil, we're going to project turmoil. And so when we have to stop taking things personally, and just become the observer. Because when we are at peace, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're not going to be triggered. People are triggered, and it's a gift. When we are triggered, it's actually a gift that we need to stand back and look at ourselves and ask ourselves, what am I feeling? Because no one can make us feel loved, accepted, or respected unless we love, accept, and respect ourselves.
So very true.
Yes.
It's an
And this is a
ongoing
simple,
journey.
it's simple spiritual psychotherapy. We don't need the pills. We don't need the drugs. We just need to take responsibility and understand that people's behavior has nothing to do with us. It's to do with the way they feel.
Yes.
So this booklet, I have 6 on the go actually. It's really spiritual psychotherapy, a way to heal yourself through understanding, because understanding to me is the bridge to inner freedom.
Mm, absolutely. Absolutely. It's definitely an inner journey. It's deciding to take responsibility for everything that we
Mm-hmm.
created in this world. And in so doing, we can assist the outer world, make it
Yeah,
easier for ourselves to navigate it thereafter. I think that
absolutely.
that might be a way of looking at things.
Yes. And one of the things too that we must remember, that the ultimate lesson for all of us is compassion for the Judases in our lives. Once we can have compassion for those who have hurt us, whether it be parents, whether it be a spouse, whether it be siblings, we are home free.
Mm.
We can look at a situation, somebody who's out of control, and actually have compassion for the wounded child, for those individuals who are out of control, who are in turmoil, are very wounded. And
Mm.
so there's a wounded child in most people. So the younger the child is traumatized, the more severe the problem will be. And so can the child heal? Yes, if he or she knows that he or she has chosen to have these experiences for the ultimate lesson. We
Hmm.
look at some of the ultimate lessons. What are the ultimate lessons for us? Self-forgiveness. If we cannot forgive ourselves for some of the poor choices that we may have made, we cannot forgive anyone else. We sign up for everything here on planet Earth. And at one time, I used to work for the incest survivors of York Region.
Mm.
And so these women who had experienced sexual trauma, child molestation, etc., very traumatic. And so I asked our master, do we sign up for horrific experiences like that? And our master Jesus said, yes. The only thing we do not sign up for is to murder or to be murdered. And one of the things I learned from these women at that time is when they were being violated as a young child, 4 or 5 years old, they would see their bodies being violated, which is an indication there's what we call disassociation,
Hmm.
where the soul will leave the body so that the child will not experience the physical trauma.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so, and I know it sounds horrific, in view of the pedophilia that exists in
Hmm.
this universal church and some other places. But whatever we have dished out to others, we
Hmm.
will come back and we will experience a similar situation. And we come back in the opposite
Hmm.
gender every lifetime. we come back in the opposite gender. Thank goodness.
That totally makes sense.
And so we come back each time to transmute our karma and to harmonize the masculine and the feminine.
Mhm. Both sides of the brain working in tandem
Yes,
with the heart.
that's right. Once we connect to the heart, we will let go of all our anger and guilt and shame, etc., etc.
Mhm.
Um, there's no judgment.
Mhm.
If we could just embrace that there's no judgment from the cosmos, from the universe, life
Mhm.
would be so much simpler. But we haven't been told that. We haven't been indoctrinated, shall we say, in knowing that
Mhm.
we're divine beings.
Yeah,
And that
that's
is a major loss for so many, as we see
mhm.
the women in particular. A creator God has been perceived to be male.
Mhm.
As we know, our soul is genderless. Cosmos
Mhm.
creator God is genderless. There's no
Yeah.
male or female. And I believe that historically, it's still going on today
Mhm.
because God was perceived to be this male. That
Mhm.
women have been oppressed for so many thousands of years, centuries, millions of years, and it's still going on in the West, in the Eastern world,
Mhm.
where women are perceived to be just baby machines, without
Mhm.
any authority, without any ability to speak their minds and to be who they are.
Mhm.
We're seeing that today, and it's very, very saddens my heart. It really breaks my heart to see that this is still going on.
Yeah. Slowly we're coming out of that ancient um, um, way of being, but it's taking time, and we just have to work on ourselves. And as each
Yeah.
individual wakes themselves up in however they are deemed that's the way they want to go, the more people do so, the more the world will change into a more positive way of being. Hence, I think the terminology, the fifth dimensional plane of existence and bliss.
Yes,
Oh,
I understand. We first need to graduate from elementary school before
yeah.
we go to high school and university and then metaphysical school. Definitely, it is a journey. However, what the masters, or the ascended masters, are saying that some parts of the world have not graduated from kindergarten yet, and it's a real
Mhm.
problem. It's a real
Yeah.
problem for these cultures that are still in elementary school, shall we say,
Mhm.
which has nothing to do with the fifth dimension, like you were saying, with God, creator, spirit. It has to do with cultural beliefs that
Mhm.
were instituted, millions of years ago, thousands of years ago, and they have not changed. And it's all
Mhm.
about power and control. So if
Mhm.
we can just remember that power in the hands of the bankrupt, that we have many of these people worldwide in every leading institution. It is about fear, being found out who we are.
Mhm.
So anyone who has incredible need to be for power is an indication that he or she has a lot of fear of being discovered who they really
Mhm.
are.
Yeah. I think a
So
lot of truth is coming to the forefront now
yes, yes,
with beautiful people like yourself
and
spreading the
yourself.
word.
Yes. And so it's about taking our mask off. And
Mm.
I always like to quote to Shakespeare.
Mhm.
Definitely, he's one of my favorite philosopher of time. When he quoted that the world's a stage, men and women merely players. We have our
Mhm.
entrances and exits, and each player plays many roles. The end result being seven ages is the seven age. This is it. It's
Mhm.
over. And William Shakespeare was born in 1561. He was the illegitimate son, believe it or not, of
Mhm.
Queen Elizabeth I. Who,
Ironic.
yeah, he adopted his stable boy's name of
Mm-hmm.
William Shakespeare, because back in those days, again, he would have been considered a bastard without
True.
a legal father. And so
Mm-hmm.
William Shakespeare was Saint Joseph, Jesus's father.
Mm.
Christopher Columbus, who discovered supposedly America. And so
Interesting.
North America, so Canada is part of North America. America
Mhm.
backwards spells I am race.
Wow, that
This,
is so divine.
it is. So Saint Germain, again, he is the seventh violet flame. So as we know, the violet flame, it's a way, a very simple little mantra to transmute karma. So Saint
Hmm.
Germain
Yes.
contacted Guy Ballard in the 1930s from the US, and he has brought this beautiful, simple mantra to the world. And it simply says, I am a being of the violet fire. I am the purity God desires. And this is one simple way not only to transmute our own karma, but to also transmute the karma of the world. And it's very, very simple. And one of the things I would really like to say that when we use the verb, shall we say, I am,
Hmm.
it must never be used in a negative context,
Hmm.
because we are the I am, and this is how we
Yes,
create. We're
absolutely.
always creating by the words that we use, and this is science of the spoken word. And so every thought is energy in motion. Every
Hmm.
thought affects the brain. The brain in turn affects the spine, which in turn affects the vertebrae. And
Hmm.
so, for instance, the liver is a seat of anger. How many
Hmm.
people die from liver cancer?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I've lost three of my older friends from liver cancer because they
Mm.
have become their story. Do
Yeah.
not become your story. Um, let's learn to love the Judases in our lives, because
Hmm.
they took this incredible role so that we could um, reach our destination.
So true. Very well said. Thank you so much, Rita, for
Thank
coming on the show today. I'm so grateful. Do you have any last words you'd like to impart to the audience in relation to how they can better their lives for themselves? Anything, any last words?
to love yourself. Love yourself. Know that you are a loved being, and know that life's adversity is indeed our greatest teacher.
Thank you so much for joining us. I'm so grateful for your coming on the show. Everyone, this was Rita Bestill, owner of Bestill Bookstores in Elmvale, Ontario, author.
Thank you for the opportunity, Giselle.
Thank you. Have a beautiful afternoon. Bye, everyone.